لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ونستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us today. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll have a short talk on the basic fiqh of tahara, in English what we call purification. So we start by saying that praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accept this effort and accept this time that we're spending to learn from His book and from the sunnah of His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and He write it down as a good deeds. So inshallah ta'ala we'll go a bit slowly at the beginning because people are still coming and we're hoping for more people to come. And we are trying our best to finish it before Isha, obviously. As you know, the Isha is 7:30, and I will try to finish at least 10-15 minutes before Isha so that we have some time for question and answers. If you have some more questions, I can stay here after the Isha, and we have a little bit of light snacks after Isha also, so you can ask me question at that time. Okay? So inshallah we'll begin. The course title is say the basic fiqh of tahara. So we're not going to go to details of everything, of every hadith, every evidence. So the approach is that because the tahara itself is a big subject, but I have summarized the main topics so that we get benefited in our daily life, and that's why the opinion that I'm going to talk about, that's the strongest opinion. But if someone is interested to know which hadith and which reference, inshallah I can provide you that later on, but not tonight, because of the time basically. So that's why we're saying the basic fiqh of tahara, because fiqh is such a vast thing, that you can go deep and go farther in the subject matter, and it will take a long time for us. So that's why the title is the basic fiqh of tahara. And why are we doing this? Obviously, the first thing we're doing is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is our main intention. And in our daily life, that we can use something of that we have learning today, and we can implement in our life. The notes and recording, so this is going to be recorded, and also if you want the whole presentation that I'm doing, I can email it to you. So you can just send me your email address and I can email it to you, and you can spread it to among your family and friends who are not here today. You can spread this one, and inshallah ta'ala this is the act of dawah also, because through you if someone else knows something, inshallah ta'ala I will write it for you. Question and answer, as I said, that you can ask question and answer, and after each topic I will probably wait for 2 minutes. It depends how we are going, how fast we are going, and then we can answer those questions. If not, after the Isha I can answer the question. Now I have 2 disclaimer. The disclaimer means that first of all, as I mentioned in the leaflet, that this is for age 13 and over or 14 and over. Okay, so there are few things that I'm going to talk about. I have to use some language, some term that is a bit explicit. I understand the brothers and sisters both are here, but there's nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing's funny. Nobody's doing funny thing here, and nothing to be bit shaky that why you're using this language, because this is what we need to know. This is what Prophet ﷺ has taught us. This is the beauty of our deen, that in every matter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided us through His Messenger Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please don't mind if I say something, because we're talking about purification of the whole body, and we're going to talk about something from the sister side, about their health issues, and also we're going to talk about something from the men's side, So those things, just understand that we are learning. The intention is to learn us. Because if we learn today, you can teach it to your children when they grow up. You can teach it to your sisters, your brothers, your family members in these cities and also overseas. And you can tell them, you can call them, the people you're interacting with. And the second disclaimer, in some of the topics I will mention that this is the opinion of Hanafi madhab, or this is the opinion of Hanbali madhab. But when I say the opinion of some school, some madhab, it is not necessarily the opinion of that imam itself, because the madhab itself is another complicated topic, and it means that the strongest opinion from that school of thought. That is what it means. So if I say that this is the strongest madhab, the opinion from Shafi madhab, it is basically that it is his opinion and probably his student's opinion, and in the books that the Shafi madhab follows, that's opinion. So that is, you have to understand, it's not necessarily that the opinion of the Shaykh itself. Now the objective of this talk, to understand the basic rules and regarding the purification, understand the impurities, what are najas as you call, najis, and understand the state of ritual impurity, and appreciate the completeness of our Sharia. As I mentioned, that this is a beautiful deen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are blessed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this deen, and also realize the importance of being a good, clean, physically and spiritually Muslim. This is the main intention for our talk today. Now the key terms, we need to know this term, and this is not for tahara. These are the terms that we should understand for every matter in tahara, in salah, in siyam, in hajj, whatever we do in our life. These are the terms, very important terms we understand. What is the meaning of fiqh? Fiqh means the science of deducing Islamic laws from the evidence found in Quran, and is Quran, Sunnah, Ijma and Qiyas. Ijma and Qiyas mean that there are matters where there is no evidence from the Quran, no evidence from the Hadith. So the scholars or the Sahabas, and then the scholars, they have agreed on something. This was their agreement, and majority of them, so we follow that. That is called Ijma. And Qiyas means that it's later on when there is no Ijma also. So there's no Quranic evidence, there's no Sunnah, there's no Ijma. So scholars like Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, and other scholars, they have made a comparison between two things. I'll give you a quick example of Qiyas so that you understand. Qiyas means, in Quran, in Sunnah, they never ever say that the marijuana is haram, because these drugs was not invented at that time. Okay, even for something, an obscene video in YouTube, like pornography, all this kind of thing, it was not invented at that time. There's no technology there. But because we make it Qiyas, because other alcoholic items are haram. Why they are haram? Because they takes over your head, it makes you drowsy, it makes you drunk, and you're not in your current state. Because of that, those are haram. So, and marijuana is doing the same thing, so that is also haram. So this is called Qiyas. So you compare one thing with the other thing and make a ruling on that. So that is the call of the fiqh. And the fiqh basically means, fiqh is not fixed. Like Sharia is fixed. Our Quran is fixed. Nobody can change Quran. Sunnah is also fixed. Whatever Prophet is fixed. But from the Quran and Sunnah, depending on your situation, when you find something, a solution for a problem, that is called fiqh. So one brother came to me and said, okay, brother, I'm going maybe 200 miles away from this Sydney city. What should I do? By the time I will reach there, I will miss Zohor and Asr. So depending on his situation, where he is going, how far he is going, is all that the Salatul Qasr and all these things. So I give him a solution. That is called fiqh. So you're getting the law using Quran and Sunnah, the source of Quran and Sunnah, and from the Ijma and Qiyas. So that is called fiqh. Now what is called fard and wajib? Wajib and fard, in our, especially in subcontinent, because in Hanafi madhab, wajib is a little bit less than fard. But actually in English term and in most of the other scholars say, what is fard? That is also wajib. So fard means obligatory, wajib also means obligatory. There's one difference, I will come back to you when we come to the arkan means. So that is only, other than that, wajib means something obligatory. If you don't do it, you are sinful. Like praying 5 times salah, fasting in the Ramadan. These are all we know, that is the first thing, okay? And and if you do it, if you don't do it, you're sinful. If you're doing it, it is rewarding. It is doing it so that, before the salah, if you take wudu, this is fard, you have to take wudu. And if you do wudu, you are being rewarded for that. If you don't do it, then, and if you pray, so your prayer is not accepted, and you will be sinful for that. Next one is mustahab or mandub. There's an Arabic term, mustahab and mandub means sunnah. That usually we use the sunnah, which is recommended. We pray sunnah prayers before the fajr, 2 rakah of sunnah. Before the Zohor, we pray 2 or 4 rakah. After the Zohor, 2 rakah. All this type of thing is sunnah. In the sunnah, there are different levels, highly recommended things, and there are something that Prophet used to do sometimes, okay? Depending on that, there are different classifications in sunnah, but the main thing about sunnah, if you do it, it will be rewarding for you. If you don't do it, you are not sinful for that. Even if you have the opportunity to do it, okay? So, smiling at the face of the brother is a sunnah, and you get reward for that. But if you don't smile, you cannot say, brother, you are sinful for that. Okay? So it's a sunnah if you do it always. And we should always understand the importance of sunnah. Sunnah is the only way we can get reward after reward. And that's why Prophet ﷺ has put so many sunnah in our daily life. Even when you're putting the shoes, if you put it in the right fit first, and you have the intention that, I'm doing it because Prophet ﷺ used to do it, you get a reward for that. You get a reward for that. Everything, every single thing that we do in our daily life can be turned into a sunnah, and we get reward from that. Mubah. The next item is mubah. Mubah means something allowed and permissible. If you do it, no reward. If you don't do it, you are not sinful. Like for example, I use this top today, this color, I choose this color. I haven't got any reward for that, or no, I have no sin for it. So there are a lot of things in our life, I'm going to buy a car, or I buy a Toyota, or I buy a BMW, doesn't matter, okay? So these things is called mubah. It's allowed for Islam, as long as it is allowed in Islam, but you don't get necessarily any reward for that, or you are not even sinful for that, okay? For example of mubah, as I said, there's a lot of examples. You're going to the Woolworths, you want to buy a Colgate, toothpaste or something else, okay? As long as both are allowed in Islam, you can buy it here. As long as it's allowed, so it is mubah. The next thing is makruh. Makruh is something disliked. If you do it, you are not sinful. But if you avoid this with correct intention, then you will be rewarded for it. So makruh is something that if you do it, there's no sin for that. It's disliked. You're discouraged not to do this. But if your intention to avoid this, this is makruh and I'm not going to do this, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. For example, once Prophet was in a desert and someone got a lizard from the desert and they brought it in front of Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah, have it, eat it. He said, no, I don't want to eat it. So the Sahaba asked, is it haram? He said, no, it's not haram. The area I grew up, like in Makkah, we never used to eat it. So probably he doesn't like that thing, but he's allowed to eat. So that Sahaba, he ate it. So it's okay. So, but it is something that, could be a makruh in Islam, but it is not that, he is doing any sin for that, okay? But if you avoid it with proper intention, then it will be rewardable. And the last is the haram in these 5 categories basically. Haram is, as you all know, which is prohibited in Islam. If you do it, you are sinful. If you don't do it, it's not necessary that you are getting rewarded for that. For example, drinking alcohol is haram. Everybody knows that, right? I'm not drinking alcohol. So that doesn't mean it is already haram. It doesn't mean that, I am getting reward for that, not doing that. Okay? So that's the one thing. Now the next thing we know is Rukun or Arkan. Rukun or Arkan means, in our simple English language, you can say the pillar. So in Salah, there are some Arkan, something that you must do. If you don't do it, it is completely invalid. Like for Udu, when you come to the term of Udu, we'll talk about it. There are 4 things in the Udu you must do. Okay, if you miss one of these things, the whole act is invalid. Okay, so Rukun or Arkan, Arkan is the plural of Rukun. It's a pillar and you have to do it. Inshallah, in future time when you're going to do a course on Salah, there's a lot of talk about Rukun and Arkan, then you will understand inshallah. And the next thing is called Shart, a precondition or a condition. Okay? So it must be done before the act. For example, Udu is a condition for your Salah. You cannot do Salah without Udu. So Udu is a Shart, for the act of this one. Then the next 2 items is Tahir. Tahir, as you all mean, is pure, and Najis means impure. So these are the key terms we will be using in our talk today, inshallah. And this is also, as I mentioned, is helpful in our daily life to understand other acts of worships. Now the definition and classification and principle of this one. So the linguistically, tahara means tahara, it means cleansing or removing the impurities. And the legal definition also that you clean something, physical impurity and also ritual impurity. Okay. And the removal of physical impurity and in the spiritual, there's 2 types of the minor impurity. Like at the moment I have wudu. Okay. So if I go to the toilet, okay, and I come back, I am still pure. I'm not najis, but I don't have spiritual purity at the moment because I broke my wudu. Okay. And there's another type of impurity that you can see something najis in the floor, or I'm holding a baby, or a kid is here, and he put some urine or something on me on my clothes. So this is a najis. So one is physical impurity, which you can see, you can smell. Another thing is that's ritual impurity, spiritual one, meaning that you are pure itself, but you don't have the right purity to do the act for yourself. Okay. So we'll come back to this one later on, inshallah, when you go to this one. So the main topic of this tahara is that we'll understand what are the means to be clean yourself, to be purify yourself, and what are the manners. So how we can do this one, and what is the manner that we're gonna do all this tahara action, inshallah. There are 2 rules to remember. By default, everything is pure. So if someone asks, brother, can we pray here? As long as you cannot see anything on the carpet, this is pure. If I say, is it pure or impure? By default, everything is pure until it is proven otherwise. Okay? And this rule actually is applicable in other times also. Like in any kind of worldly acts, everything is allowed in Islam until there is a proof that someone produced you and say, it is not allowed. So if I say, wearing a blue shirt, if someone says, brother, it is not allowed in Islam, then I don't have to prove evidence for that, because he is saying it is not allowed, he has to bring the proof. By default, everything is pure that we can see, unless otherwise there is evidence for this. Okay, no, this is impure because we have the hadith from this, or we have the Quranic ayah for this, then it is impure. Or is there rulings from the Sahaba or from the scholar, then this is impure, then it is only impure. Other than that, the default ruling is everything is pure until it's proven. And also another rule is that the certainty is not removed by doubt. If you are certain about something, you should follow. And this rule will come into when you talk about the wudu and even in the salah. I'll give you a quick example. Like you're praying your Isha salah, 4 rakah. In 3 rakah, you completely forgot. Are you in 3 rakah or in your 4th rakah, 3rd or 4th? So you are certain that you have done 2. You are certain that I have done 2, but I'm not sure whether it's in the 3rd or 4th. You should go with the certainty. You should go that I have done 2, so next this should be my 3. Could be 4, but you go with the certainty. Same thing for wudu. We'll come back to it, but I'm just jumping the gun here. For wudu, if I did wudu at suppose 8 o'clock in the morning before I go to office, okay? Now before Zohar time, I came and I am thinking, did I broke my wudu? Did I go to the toilet? Do I have wudu or not? So I'm confused now, okay? What should I do? But I'm 100% sure that I did wudu in 8 o'clock, so I should go with 8 o'clock. Meaning I have wudu. Okay? That is the ruling, that is the way we should do it, okay? Because this is how Prophet ﷺ told us, because to make our life easy. And also the shaitan, he comes and plays with your head all the time. He wants to make you doubtful in the matter, so that you miss the salah or you miss the wudu, something like this, okay? So if you are doubtful, certain about something, go with the certainty, not with the doubt, throw the doubt on the bin, okay? Now the purifiers, obviously the water is the main source of purification, and we use water to purify other things. There are 3 types of water we'll talk about very shortly. Obviously the natural form of water is the pure water, and that are the source from the pure rainwater, spring water, lake and well, all these things, as you can see, okay? Like the river, the oceans, the water that comes from the sky, this is the purest thing. And the next thing is that the pure substance mixed with water. So you have a glass of water, and then you put 1 spoon of tang in that, or maybe some juice, and you make it like a sharbat type of thing, okay? And as soon as it changes the color and the smell and everything, that's not in water anymore. All the drinks that we drink, every day time, that has base thing is water. As you all know that, if you read the labels, the Coke, Sprite, juices, everything has water, but it is not in water state anymore. So water can be used as purify yourself, but not the water mixed with other substance. And that is why we cannot make wudu with a bottle of Coke or a Sprite, okay? That is not allowed. You are allowed to do purification only with water, not with substance mixed with water or any kind of other things. And also the 3rd type of water is the water with the impure thing in. So if you see a water and that is, someone, you saw that, a baby or someone, urinating on the water, and the water is completely najas, so you know that this is impure water, so you cannot do anything with that water, okay? Large body of water never gets impure. So that is another ruling from Prophet Muhammad. He said, large body of water, meaning a pond, okay, a lake, an ocean, a river, okay? This kind of things cannot get impure. Even if you see that, in the villages, you can see that, there's a pond, on the other side of someone is taking a bath, or maybe someone urinating. But even if they urinating, on the other side, you are allowed, you can do the wudu with this water, because Prophet said, large body of water never gets impure, okay? And he gave a unit of measure, is called kullatan in hadith. Kullatan basically is an Arabic word. It comes out, the scholar says that around 200 liter of water. So 200 liter means you have bathtub in the house. If you fill up the bathtub, it's almost more than 200 liter. So that much of water, if some water you see bigger than this, it is not impure. But if you see that some chemical has been put and everything, and completely the properties of the water has been changed, like someone intentionally did that thing, then obviously it's impure, okay? Other than that, everything is pure as long as a large body of water, okay? Can used water be used? So meaning, I have a bucket of water here. I did wudu with that, and I have still some water left. And maybe Brother Imran saw this bucket and he wants to do wudu with the same bucket of water. Can he do that? Yes. In the most strongest opinion, yes, he is allowed to do that. The evidence for that, when Prophet ﷺ used to make wudu, the Sahaba used to follow him. And he dropped the water from his hand, they used to go and catch those water actually. And they used to try to save those water. Because there's a blessed water and they used to do this. So from that, the scholars say, used water can be used to do your wudu as long as the water is water. Like it's pure and it doesn't change the color and the other things, okay? And water used by animal, it is not applicable in our time, but it's still better to know that. So in previous days, you have animals in the house, so you have goat, sheep and everything, okay? So you kept a big bucket of water here, and you see your goat is coming and drinking from there. You're supposed to go make wudu from there. Are you allowed to do that? Yes, you are allowed to do that as long as that animal is a halal animal. Halal animal means whatever we are allowed to eat, okay? But if you see a pig or a dog is coming and drinking from the water, that water become najas, okay?
Cat?
Yes. Cat, actually, this opinion that cat is not a halal for us, obviously. But some of the scholars said because it's been domesticated, okay, it is allowed in some cases, but better to avoid it. It's a very minority opinion. It's better to avoid it. So if you have cats in your house, a lot of, I see a lot of Muslim families have cats. It's fine to have a cat in the house as a pet, but if you see that they're, drinking water from your tap, then you should avoid it. And because in our times, we don't use like a bucket water at all. We just open our tap and use the wudu from there, okay? Every masjid, every house there. But it's better to know that. But still, as I say, difference of opinion is there, so you shouldn't do it. Because some of the madhab schools say all animals are allowed. And you will be surprised to know one of the opinion of Maliki madhab, even the pig, if it comes and drink the water, it is allowed. That's one of the opinion. So that's why the difference of opinions are there. So that's why I put DOP, different. Whenever you see DOP, but in this matter, there are difference of opinion. But inshallah, better to avoid this one. And inshallah, Allah, we are living in a good time, so we don't need to go for the bucket water, inshallah. There, other than water, we have other purifiers like soil, stones, and earth and air. As you know, the tayammum, we'll talk about tayammum today. That inshallah, we need the stones, and we can use soil, we can use stones, and pebbles, the earth, even for air. Air is also allowed. And that's why, according to this rule, if you do dry cleaning, so suppose you got some najasa in that, if some baby urinated or something, you give it to the laundry, they do dry cleaning for it. Still, it is allowed that this is not impure anymore. Once the dry cleaning is done, the air has worked as it worked the water, so that it's been purified. And we have evidence for that also. So here you can see the permissibility for using stones, as been telling. Also, at that time, the time of Prophet ﷺ, they used to use to clean themselves after the urinating stone. You might think that how can they use stone to clean themselves? We use tissue papers nowadays, okay? But they used to use stone. But that stones is not like stone that we see. It's like a bit of soft stone they used to use that time. Only one thing is condition that the Prophet ﷺ said, never use the dry bone of any animals because the bones are food of the jinn. So Prophet ﷺ said, when you clean yourself after urinating or defecating, do not use those ones because these are the food for the jinns of your jinn brothers, okay? The brothers from your jinn. So that's a different topic, so we shouldn't use those things. And also removing impurity from sandals, wiping them on the ground. So this is evidence again from the hadith that if you see something on the bottom of your shoe, it's najasa, and you are praying, or even your socks, you see something, if you wipe it up on the ground properly, this is gone. In the time of Rasulullah, one of the ladies, she had a long garment, so she was walking and she had some najasa on the garments. And she said, what to do? Because the long garment, is my whole dress is impure now? Also, no, if you walk through along the ground, because it's dragging through the ground, so that earth will make it purified. So what we understand that, as water is the main purifier, other than water, we have soil, stone, earth, and air, and all these things. Now, utensils. Utensils are not very important in our time, because, we don't use buckets and everything to reserve water and purify, as I mentioned before. We use our tap water, okay? But it's still better to know these things. Gold and silver utensils completely prohibited. Sometimes in our countries, when a baby is born to a rich family, they have like silver spoon or gold-plated spoon to feed the new baby some water or honey, whatever. This is not allowed. And even for ourselves, we should not use any utensil made of gold and silver. Even gold-plated is also the strongest opinion. Gold-plated thing is also prohibited. But nowadays, you can see in the news, even they have gold-plated, commodes and toilets for the princes in Saudi Arabia, okay? whatever. So, but the silver plated is allowed. What is the proof the silver plated allowed? Prophet ﷺ had a leather pouch for water. You know, that time they had the leather pouch for water, and he had a hole in the leather pouch. So what he went to the smith person, blacksmith person, so he put a little bit of silver plated and, you know, glue that hole actually. So from that proof, the scholar says, small quantity of silver plated thing is still allowed. So silver plated thing, as it's a utensil, it is still okay to use that. But gold plated and pure gold and silver is definitely not allowed. Utensil for the non-Muslim. There's a question, there's a difference of opinion is that. But once some Sahaba came from an area and said to Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, are we allowed to use the plates and glass and cups from the kuffar? Because we're living in that area now. Prophet said, yes, better to avoid, but if they wash it, or if you can wash it, that's fine. So when you go to a restaurant, like, you know, Haveli, it's a Hindu restaurant or something, as long as you know they're washing it, it's clean, it is okay to allow, it's okay to use it. Okay, that's the strongest opinion. Okay. The last thing, the leather. I talked about the leather here because we always use leather products. Okay. So leather is simple to understand that for leather, all the halal animal leather is fine, but the animal doesn't have to be slaughtered in halal way. The animal has to be halal. So if I have a shoe made of cow leather, but the cow leather is coming from Italy, so the person in the Italy doesn't probably say Allahu Akbar when he cut the cow. That's fine, as long as he do the tanning, and obviously you have to do tanning to make shoe or belt or something or wallet. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so because Prophet said in a clear hadith, tanning is like zabiha. So when you tanning, it is similar to zabiha for the halal animals. So he saw one day he was walking by, he saw a dead goat is there. Okay, and Prophet said, why don't you use the skin of this goat? So the Sahaba said, yes, it's dead. Dead animal is haram. Rasulullah, no. If you tan the skin, that's okay to do that. Okay, so the tanning of that is the allowed. So tanning of the halal animal, and the leather that we use is okay allowed. There's a common question in there. You know, there is difference between the crocodile. You know, in Australia we have a lot of products made of crocodile leather. It's better to avoid it, because there's two types of things, crocodile and alligator. Scholars say the alligator is allowed. Why? Because alligator, what we call alligator, they mostly live in the water. Okay? Crocodile lives mostly in the land. Because Prophet ﷺ said anything from the sea is halal, so some scholars say if it is made of alligator skin, it's okay to use. Okay? But better to avoid, you know, because we have a lot of other, the cow leather, goat leather and everything else, so that should be fine to use. Now the types of physical impurities, this is very important to understand. Obviously the first thing is the human excrements, meaning urine, feces and najas. Exception is that urine of an unweaned baby boy is not najas. So a baby boy only, not girl, a baby boy, as long as he is still having milk from his mother, okay, his urine is not najas. Prophet ﷺ was brought, a baby boy was brought to Prophet ﷺ, and he urinated on the lap of Prophet ﷺ, okay, and he just sprinkled some water on that, and that was enough. So it is not impure. Why it is that? We don't know. Okay, Prophet ﷺ said, we follow this. Okay, there's no scholar has commented on that, and it could be different. Why like a baby boy, why not a baby girl? But it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is, other than that, obviously urine and feces of all men or women it is not pure. Animal excrement, urine and litter from haram animals are halal, so it's impure. But if you have urine and feces from halal animal, that is still not a najasa. So how do you know that? The hadith proved that once a Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, can we pray in the tent of the sheep, where the sheep is kept, the heart of the sheep? He said he is allowed to pray in the sheep heart, no problem. So their feces, their urine, it is not impure. Okay, you can clean it up. It's better to do that, but you cannot say that it's impure for the halal elements. So halal elements, urine and feces are not impure. Impurities of the swine, meaning pig, everything from the swine is impure. That is the strongest opinion. There are some difference of opinion. The skin, everything is impure. Now the dog saliva. Dog saliva is a very important thing to understand. Dog saliva, as Prophet said in Bukhari and Muslim, if a dog licks any of your utensil or licks your body or your clothes, you must wash it 7 times. One of the times should be with dirt. But the scholar said it doesn't have to be dirt. You can use detergent or something else, okay? So if you see a dog, okay, and it's coming and leaking, okay, then it is not allowed to use it. You must purify by washing it 7 times. 1 time with either with dirt or any other detergent product. And what if a dog touch you? You know, it's not leaking you. So you're walking in the park and a dog came just brush through your body. So do you have to wipe it and clean it? No, because it's not leaking. Only the dog's saliva that comes from its leaking, that is najasa, not the dog's whole body. Okay, so that's fine. No, we are not a dog hater religion because a lot of people think we hate dog, but you know it's not like that. But you know, and actually, if you go to the veterinarian, all the animal doctors will say that. And some of the time, the people who have dogs as their pet, they take the dog and they deworm them. It's called deworming a dog to keep it safe. And you know why do the deworming? Not the whole body. The deworming the face and the tongue, because they know that the most germs are in the tongue of the dog. So that's why it is not allowed. And dog as a pet, as you all know, this is prohibited. We cannot have it. But you can only have it as a guard dog. Especially people living in the farm area, or have a hunting dog, or for the blind people. The scholar of the current time, they allowed it because blind dog, they are a guide for the blind people, so you can use this one. Interestingly, Imam Shafi, he said, not only dog saliva, the whole dog is najas. He said, what's his logic? He said, the face is the main part of any creation body. If the face is najas, whole thing is najas. So that's his opinion, Imam Shafi's opinion. But as I said, majority of the scholars says only the saliva which comes from the licking of the dog, it is impure. Other than that, everything else is fine. The other impurities, blood. The blood has also some issues. Blood pours forth, meaning when you slaughter something, okay, and the blood comes out as like a force, okay, that blood is impure, okay. But if the blood is with the found in the vein and in the meat, that is okay. That's why when you cook something, when you cook beef at home or chicken even, okay, and you see some reddish thing, blood, maybe blood that blood is fine, because this is not poured forth blood. It is not the flowing blood as I mentioned, okay. So that's why the blood is okay as long as it is mixed with the vein or with the meat itself. But the poured forth blood is not allowed, and that's why people who works in the butcher shop, okay, sometimes they're cutting the meats and everything, so they have bloods in the dresses and everything. So it's okay because that blood came from because they're handling the meat, raw meat. It doesn't came from when they're slaughtering the thing. It's not a it's like poured forth blood. Vomit, major difference of opinion in vomiting whether it's najas or not. The strongest opinion for infant babies, a lot of babies, in their early time, in year 1 or year 2, when they're only 1 year old, they have a lot of reflux. Okay, so they eat milk and they just come out in every time. So the scholar said that is allowed. Okay, it's fine. It's not najasa, but in small quantity allowed. But if like people like us, we vomit, it's better to take it and consider it as an impure thing. So if you see that you vomit yourself and some vomit is in your clothes, it's better to wash it or change your dress before you pray or something else. Okay, because this is our vomit. It's better not to do that one. Alcohol also has difference of opinion. Okay. Majority says is impure, okay? But the other opinion, the minority opinion also is strong has. They have strong opinion. Why? Because they say consuming alcohol is haram, okay? Just like gambling is haram. But suppose there is a poker machine here. The machines that we put coins and whatever they do in a casino. So if you touch that machine, is it haram? No, it's not haram. So just like that, the opinion is that if you touch alcohol, it is not haram. When you consume it, it's haram. But some of the scholars say no, it is halal because Allah said in the Quran that the drinks of the Jannah sharaban tahura. So drinks of the Jannah is sharaban tahura. Those are the sharab tahur, meaning the pure. So obviously the drinks of this sharab of this world is impure. But even the counter argument is that means sharab doesn't only mean wine. Sharab means any kind of drinks. So it means Coke, Sprite, everything will be haram if you do that way. Okay. So majority opinion says that it is impure, but the other opinion is not valid. And how about medicine and perfume? Medicine is obviously allowed. When go for blood test, they put alcohol spirit. Even for perfume, it is okay to use because in perfume they use not the same alcohol that they sell in the liquor shop. It's a different alcohol. They modified it. It's something, the chemical term, whoever is chemist, you can tell me better, like ethanol to methanol or something. So it is not there. And also it's in a very, very certain amount. So most of the perfume use that. If you read this one, it is not ethanol. So if you drink the perfume, it's not going to make you drunk, okay? So from that point of view, lot of scholars, majority scholars say it is okay to use the perfume that has, alcohol in it. But nowadays, alhamdulillah, we have a lot of alcohol-free, perfume. To be the better side, you can still use that one. Pre-seminal fluid. This is, as I mentioned before, so these are the things we have to talk about. So these are something that comes out from the men's and women's private part, okay? But that is not the semen we are talking about. Something that comes out like a small, like a lightish liquid thing, and that is by majority of the scholar it is impure. So if you have this inclusion, you must go and you wash the area, wash the private parts, and washing is fine. You don't have to take ghusl for that, but washing is fine. And same thing for semen. For semen that comes out from the men, there's difference of opinions whether itself it is najas or not. If the semen is out, that's definitely you are in state of janaba, so you have to take ghusl and everything. That's fine, everybody knows that. But if the semen is in your cloth, is it haram or not? Is it impure? And there's a big difference of opinion. So if you look at the chart, so Shafi and Hanbali madhab, they said it is pure, okay? And Hanafi and Maliki say impure. What is the logic evidence? Because the default hukum is everything is pure. Professor has never mentioned any clear hadith, just like he mentioned for dog saliva. He didn't mention that semen is impure, he's najas. He never said that, okay? So by default ruling, what is the ruling we said? We said everything that doesn't have any evidence is pure until it's been proven. But Hanafi and Maliki said no, was washed off from Prophet's clothing. So there was a hadith, once Prophet wake up from the Fajr, okay, and he was going to the prayer, and his clothes has some semen that got dried up, and his wife Aisha anha, she washed it off, okay? One time she washed it off, one time she scratched it off, okay? And that's another proof from the Hanafi thing. So that's why they say no, because it's washed it off, so it is impure. The next thing, they say semen is the origin of men. From the semen, the men come out, as Allah mentioned in the Quran so many times. But the Hanafi says, no, Hanafi and Maliki, semen comes from the private part, and anything comes from the private part because urine comes from private part. The feces comes from the private part, the back private part. If those are impure, so this is also impure. But Shafi and Hanbali say no, because Prophet when he went to pray, and Aisha once he scraped it off. It was dried, and he scraped it off. And when you scrap something off, actually there is some there still there. You cannot scrap a whole thing until you wash it. So that's why, and he prayed in that state. So it is okay to have this one. It is not, and the strong opinion, as I say, the semen itself, it is not najasa itself, and that is the strongest opinion. And this is very popular opinion. You can easily Google it and you can find it. And it's not only Shafi and Hanbali, even the other scholar of our concurrent time, they also say by itself it is not najasa. Now we'll go back to the toilet etiquettes. These are the simple etiquettes that we should know. Anything in the toilet etiquette that's been told, this is, as I said, recommended. If you do it, you get reward for that, okay? And whatever is told not to do it, if you don't do it, you're not sinful, but it is disliked, okay? You're not sinful that if you don't do this act. So if the first thing entering into the left feet, if you do it, and if you say the dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubsi wal-khaba'is, you get reward for that. If someone doesn't do it, he's in a rush, he didn't do it, he forgot, or maybe he doesn't know the dua, you cannot say that, brother, you have made a guna, something wrong happened, you made a sin. No, it's not like that. Because all the commandments about toilet etiquette is either makruh or recommended mandu. So that's the first one, as you all know, going to the toilet with the left foot, okay? And also the leaving there with the right feet first and saying Ghufranaka. The scholars comment on this. Why do you say Ghufranaka? Ghufranaka means, oh Allah, I seek forgive. So when you're coming out from the toilet, you are saying, oh Allah, I seek forgive. Why? Because some of the Ibn Taymiyyah commented, that is the only time your tongue is not doing zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot say Allah's name in the toilet, right? So because of that time has been spent without zikr of Allah, so you're seeking forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, as mentioned in the other dua, there is jinn, khubsi al khawai, there are like male and female jinns, and some of the scholars said the toilet area is the office for the shayateens. It's their office, so don't spend too much time there, okay? So you finish your job. And interestingly, Ibn Taymiyyah says in one of his book, he said, this dunya is like toilet. You go to the toilet, you use it for your necessary thing, and you come out. Dunya is just like that. You use it as long as you need. Whatever your basic need, you do it, and you go out for Jannah, inshallah. Another scholar, Ibn Ghazali, he said about the toilet thing, is very interesting. He said, whatever you take into the toilet, that's your true knowledge. Meaning, in the toilet, you cannot take books and everything, right? What he's trying to say, you go to the toilet with your head and your mind. So whatever is your true knowledge is with you. So that's in the toilet, okay? So you cannot take like books of, Quran or books, anything into the toilet. So he mentioned that, whatever you take in the toilet, that is your real knowledge, basically. The next thing, when to say the dua. So, as I mentioned that, if you go to the toilet, left field and say the dua. But suppose I'm going to the toilet not to do urinate or defecate. Maybe I left my watch there. So now I'm going back again. I forgot my watch in the toilet. So do I have to say the dua? No, that's fine. It's only when you're doing the act itself. Either you're going there to urinate or you're going there for the defecation. You use this dua, okay? And you do the dua before you enter the toilet. And when you come out, you say the dua, okay? The next thing, the conceal oneself and protect the aura. So obviously we shouldn't do in the toilet in the open air. We must conceal ourselves. And nowadays, alhamdulillah, everywhere there are public toilets and everything. So you have a door, you close yourself, you maintain your aura. But some part of the country, like the world, like like India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, they still have people. They do it in the open air. You can see people standing and doing urinating. And they shouldn't do it. Because that's not the way to do the sunnah. Not facing or backing toward the qibla. This is another topic. So when you do use the toilet, but as long as you have a barrier and a door, that's fine. So some of the brothers in our time actually, they have been very, very strict. So if you go to see a house to rent or something, if the toilet is facing qibla, they say no, I cannot take this out. It's not like that because you have a door. This rule is applicable when you are in the open air. So like you're doing something, at that time, people used to go. They didn't have toilet like us. Okay, they have toilet far away because they used to go to avoid the snail and everything. So they used to go far away. At that time, you should not face qibla or put your back into the qibla. So other than that, as long as you have a door in your house and you shut it down, that's enough. Even if it's facing the qibla, that's okay because you have a barrier in front of that. Urinating while standing, so of course for the man, it is highly discouraged, but it is allowed because there's a hadith from Abu Huraira, and he said that I saw Prophet ﷺ one day, he was urinating while standing, but scholars say that day he did, and another hadith from Aisha, and that was a very strong hadith. She said, whoever says Prophet ﷺ did urinate standing, he is a liar. So how do you recompile this? Both hadiths are authentic. How do you recompile this? Because that day when Prophet ﷺ urinated standing, he was in an area where if he sit down, his clothes will be dirty. There will be probably najasa in the ground because Arab is to do long clothes, okay? So that's why probably he did it standing. So it is highly discouraged. But if the situation is like that you cannot sit down, you are in a place that you have to do it standing, it's okay to do this. You are not sinful for do that. So it's all good to do that way. Using the left hand, touching your and cleaning the private part. And this is very important as it's a clear hadith from Rasulullah. When you clean yourself, either back or front, you should only use your left hand, okay? And we'll talk about this later when it comes to wudu and everything, inshallah ta'ala. And how about miswak and brushing the teeth? Of course, we can do it with the right hand. Because miswak and brushing, you can do it with the right hand, no problem, okay? That's cleansing your teeth, not your private part. Using water or tissue or both, evidence from Quran. So, according to all the four madhab, Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, if you just use tissue, okay, dry things, it is all fine. Water is not mandatory to use. But, of course, it is a very good practice and you all should practice that because we have water available, okay? But if the water is not available in such a place, if you only use tissue paper, as we have the toilet paper, it's all good to go, okay? No problem from that one. But Allah mentioned in the Quran in one of the ayah, the people of the Masjid Quba, he mentioned the tafsir of the ayah is like that. Allah praised them because they used to use both. They used to dry thing and also they used to water to clean themselves. So Allah have praised, praised those people. Obviously, be careful and cautious and not be extreme in cleaning after the urinating, especially for males. A lot of books you will find, especially in subcontinent and other place, that after you urinate, there is something left in our private parts. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designed that part. If you read little bit of medical thing in such a way that it's not a straight thing, it's a curvy thing, okay? It will be something there, okay? So, and sometimes the people, I mean, in the books of, there are books, you have to jump 3 times, you have to do like, coughing and all these things. Yeah. These are all unnecessary, okay? And even from the Sahaba, one of the times Sahaba came and said, Ya Rasulullah, I think there's few drops. Every time I do, I clean, but I think there are a few drops. Prophet said, no, don't worry about that, this is from shaitan. Once you clean yourself, you're 100% sure, sprinkle some water on your undergarments, okay? So that you understand that that if you feel something wet, it is from your water, not from that part, okay? And for a quick tip, just for the brothers, one of the current scholar, and he's a doctor himself, he said, once you do your urinate thing, and you put water on the private part and use tissue, if you use your left hand to press under the testicles, under the testicle, if you press it, the extra will come out. So just a little bit of press, it will come out, and that should be suffice, okay? So don't go extreme on these things. Clean as much as you can. That should be fine. Everything else is from the shaitan to make you doubtful, okay? What if you sneeze in the toilet or someone says salam when you're in the toilet? Like, I go to someone's house and the brother is in the toilet and I say assalamu alaikum. Does she have to reply? No. Don't say Allah's name that's the strongest opinion. Even if you're sneezing, don't say Alhamdulillah in the toilet. You can say it in your heart. You can say it in your heart, but don't utter the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this one, that is not, as mentioned by a lot of scholars, is not allowed to say Allah's name there. And the last thing, taking a mobile phone that has Quran app in the toilet, it is all good, because the Hafiz who has Quran in the heart, they are also going to the toilet and they have to, okay? So even taking a mobile phone that has Quranic app, as long as the app is not open. As long as you're not listening, missionary in the Quran in the toilet, that should be fine. You can just put that. But better not to take it, if you don't need to. But if you're in an office, in a public place, or you have the bag, you're carrying your bag, the sisters carry in the bag, and they have the phone, it's all good to take it. No problem in that, inshallah. Okay. Now there are some personal hygiene and grooming. So obviously these are the things for our normal cleaning and grooming. Obviously we should do miswak and toothbrush. That's the hadith recommendation Prophet said. Yes.
So what's the last point? Covering of the head.
Okay, covering of the head is from a Sahaba, from Abu Bakr. This one.
Yeah.
So it is recommended because it was a practice of Abu Bakr. So if you can do it, that's fine. As recommended, okay? So when he used to go to the toilet, he used to cover his head, okay? As you know, the Arab already has covering of the head most of the time. So they have covering on the head, this is their part of their dress, okay? So they used to put some clothes. But as Miss Scholar, it is from Abu Bakr, so it is highly recommended if you can do it, that's fine. So in personal hygiene, miswak or toothbrushing. So miswak doesn't mean that you always have to use the stick itself. Some scholars say the act itself, the brushing, that is also called miswak. So if you use the normal Colgate toothpaste or brush, that's also part of miswak. And Prophet said that if it is not too much difficult for my ummah, I would have made it a part of the wudu, that every time you do wudu, you should do miswak. But because it's going to be difficult, so he didn't make it complimentary, obligatory. So you can do it as much as you can, that's fine. The next thing is that the gargling of the water or the nostril thing, that's a part of the wudu. Trimming the nostrils and growing the beard. For the men brothers, keeping the beard according to all madhab is obligatory. Okay, there is no ifs and buts. It is obligatory for the men to grow the beard. How long will be your beard? What will be the shape and everything? That has difference of opinion. But all the scholars agree that growing the beard is obligatory for men. For cutting the nails is recommended to do in Friday. There are some books that say they cut from this finger, but these are not related to the hadith actually. So you can cut from this side or this side, doesn't matter. Okay? But cutting the nail on Fridays, it is recommended. It's a sunnah that Prophet used to do it. Shaving the armpits and pubic hairs, men and women, every 40 days is max. So we must clean our private parts. Maximum is 40 days. Okay, maximum. So every 40 days we must shave, because nowadays we have hair removing cream, shaving cream. That time they didn't have, they used to literally pluck the armpits and the pubic hairs. But it is better every 40 days we should use hair removing shaving cream, and we should clean ourselves. Circumcision for men, a lot of scholars says it's obligatory to do that, but it's not a pillar of Islam. If someone accepted Islam in the later age when he is like 40 years old or something, don't make him do that. It's going to be painful for him. So it's better not to do this way. There's a joke for this one actually. One of the guy, he came from Christianity and accepted Islam, and the other brother did not have much knowledge. He said, "Did you do the circumcision?" He said, "No, I didn't do it. I think it's very painful for me now." He said, "No, if you don't do it, you're not Muslim." Then so they said, "Then if it is the case, then I'm not going to be Muslim. I want to go back to Christianity." They said, "Now if you go back to Christianity, you are a murtad, so I'm going to chop your head off." That's the ruling, right? So he said, "What is this religion? You come, you chop something. You go, you chop something. What's the right? So that's the joke, But it's not a pillar. Obviously we do it, at the very early age of our kids, so that's fine. Wearing good and clean clothes all the time, especially during the salah, and also the haircut. Okay, nowadays this is a fashion, the kaza haircut. This is a miracle also, In 1400 years ago, even in our time, 10 years back, this kaza haircut, I'll show you a picture. It was not available. We didn't even know. Even our when we were like 25 years old, even 10, 15 years ago, it was not like a style for any people. People used to have like even the Hollywood, Bollywood stars. If you go even 10 years back, they all have long hair. That was the hero style. Okay. Nowadays this kaza style. And Prophet ﷺ says 1400 years ago, whoever cuts this hairstyle, it is prohibited in Islam. So you shave the part of your hair and keep the other part. Okay. This is not the right way to do it. Obviously, tattoo is also haram. Eyebrow plucking for the sisters, okay? It is a specific hadith explicitly where Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does eyebrow plucking or whoever helps her to do that, both are cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But scholars say sometimes some of the sisters may have a very bushy area here, what do you call that, like a double earbrow, and this part is not earbrow. So if she is allowed to clean this part, or if it is obviously it's too obvious that is bushy and something that is to fix, that is allowed, but not to beautify yourself, to eyebrow plucking is not allowed. Hair extension, majority of scholars say hair extension is not allowed for male and female. But Aisha radhiyallahu anha, she said, hair extension if you do, especially for sisters, for your husband only, because sisters are supposed to wear hijab anyway, the sisters here won't see anybody. So from that point of view, she said it is allowed for if you do it for your husband. Nail polish, if you do it, you must make sure that you do it after you do wudu. Okay, even if you want to do it, better because once you put it here and you do wudu with your nail polish, your wudu is not valid because water is not reaching here. And that's why we have replacement as nail polish is henna. Use henna as much as you can. Use every day, no problem, inshallah. So this is the kaza haircut. You see this nowadays, a lot of people see. These are not allowed. Some of the hairs are there and others are missing. So don't do it for our young brothers, youngster. Tell them not to do this way, inshallah. Now we come back to the wudu. Time is going fast. So this is the ayah from the Quran for the wudu. Okay, this is ayah number 6 in Surah Al-Ma'idah. You must know that if someone asks you, why are you doing wudu, and this is the only act in our fiqh terms Allah has explicitly mentioned it in the Quran. So explicit, okay? Allah tell what to do. Allah never said how to pray salah in the Quran. We know it from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah talked about Hajj, a lot of things in the Quran, separately, not in a proper way. But this is the only thing, wudu, Allah said properly. Even for siyam, the fasting, we have to have suhoor. Allah tells them in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, but not explicitly, what will break the wudu thing, not in a sequential way. Only wudu is mentioned such a way, okay? And that's why the hadith says, that taharu shatrul iman. Meaning taharu here means the wudu here. The scholars say here, taharu doesn't mean cleanliness only. It mostly means the wudu. And that's why the wudu is so important that it is the half of iman. That's why we're doing the course, because your iman is depending on how you clean yourself before the prayer. And the wudu is, to understand the pillar of the wudu, you must understand this ayah and to understand the order of the action. And also, we'll talk about some opinion of the Shafi'i Mazhab. So this ayah is very simple, as you can see. Allah is saying, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu idha kumtum ila salati faghsilu. Faghsilu is the word, the ghusl, it's the same word. Ghusl is the Arabic word, faghsilu means to wash. So Allah is saying, wash your, ujuhakum, okay? Wash your face, wal aydiyakum, your hand ila al-marafiqi, to the elbow. So first wash your face, then you wash in the elbow, and then Allah is saying, bi ru'usikum, with your head, wipe your head, okay? And then wa arjulakum ila al-qabain, and your feet up to the ankle, okay? Why I mark this word, I'll come back to this one.
And also in the bottom, in the second last line, Allah said, وَأَمْسُتُمْ النِّسَاء. So he said, when you touch a woman, amsutum is when you touch a woman, your wudu is broken, okay? That's what it literally mean here. And that's why Imam Shafi said that if you touch any woman, your mother, your wife, your daughter, okay, your wudu is broken. And that's why you will see, when you go to Hajj, there's a lot of ladies are wearing gloves. And some of the Shafi people actually they call it rukhsa. For the Hajj time, they are not Shafi anymore. They become Hanbali or other thing. But according to majority of scholar, here the touching the woman means the, meeting the woman with your wife in a private intimacy. That's what it means here. It doesn't mean the normal time. And also, we have clear hadith from Prophet Sallallahu that when he's going to pray, he used to kiss his wife and he used to go to the pray. Okay? And from the Sunnah also, be nice to your wife, before going to the pray. So it is definitely doesn't break the wudu. Now, here the order is important, and that's why Allah said first the face, and then the hands, and then Allah said wipe the head, and then also the arjulakum means your ankle. Now, some of the people, especially the Shia, if you go to any Shia masjid sometime, that's for visit, Shia never ever wash their feet. You know why? They said, Allah said, Faqsilu, two things, see? Wash ujuhakum and aydiyakum. Wash your face and hand. Then Allah says, wa amsahu, meaning masa. Do masa for what? For your head and for your ankle. Allah didn't say why, but they are wrong because we have all the hadiths from all the Sahaba, they never did masa on the feet. They washed the feet, okay? So, and also if you see that one, all this red line, when I say the first one, urju, it's Arabic thing, I'm just quickly going to go in. It's a uju hakum, see? Before the kum, it's a hakum, yakum, but here look, it's a sikum. It's a different grammatical thing, okay? And then here again, arjulakum. So before the kum, there's a fatha, okay? But only on the head, it's a kasra. It's a different state of ism, okay? So that's why, that's another proof that Allah mentioned this way, okay? And Allah said in this order, so we have to do it in this order. If the order was not important, Allah would have said faghsilu, and Allah said all the four things. Okay, wash this. No, Allah said wash this, and in the between He said why? He took a break, okay? And in Arabic language, when you take a break, like you're not continuity, you break the continuity, that means it's something else. This is important. That's why Allah bring that word. So definitely it is important to maintain the order. So you do the face. And we'll go back to this one very quickly now. So obviously you all know the basic way to do the wudu. These are the basic rules. Instead of showing this one, I'm going to show you the other one. These are the obligatory acts of the wudu. You must, to make a minimum wudu, you must do this one. One, washing the face and running the fingers through the beard for the men. Washing the arms, okay? Wiping the head, washing the feet up to the ankle, keeping the above acts in order, and also the continuity. Meaning, I cannot wash the face and then wait for 2 hours and then I go and wash the hand. You can't do that one, okay? Or you say, okay, before I go into the office, I did 3 parts, and when I go to the office, I'll do the other part. No. You must do all the things together as long as the other part doesn't get dry, okay? So usually we do that, but just to let you better to know that one. And the recommended acts of the wudu are this one, saying Bismillah, obviously, okay? And using the miswak, as I mentioned before, it is, recommended. Washing the hands, beginning the wudu, gargling, sniffing up the water in the nose, running the fingers and everything. Now, one thing we make a mistake sometimes. We start the wudu by washing our hand, and starting from the right side is fine. If someone does it from left side, wudu is still valid, okay? But it's not right, okay? So we start with the right wrist first, and then we go to the left wrist, okay? But this part is a recommended part. Again, after this, what do? We do rinsing the mouth, and then we wash the nose. These are part of the face. Nose and the face is part of the face. So that comes in the, when Allah says, wash faghsilu wujuhakum, when your face, it has nose and this also. This is also, some of the scholars, this is also obligatory, okay? So not only washing the face, that's why we do the gargling, and also we put water. And the best way to do is that actually the sunnah way to do, which is very difficult for us, and for me actually I also couldn't do it, that you take some water, with the same water, you sip it, and you put it in the nose, and the same go. Usually we do 3 times gargle, and then we put it in the nose, okay? That's also okay, but the sunnah way that you take the water, you gargle it, and you take it in the sip, okay? And once you do the wash, then you do the arm. That time, sometimes we do arm, we just do from here and there. No, you should not do this. The arm should be from elbow to here. So you put the water, you drop it here, and you go up to this one, okay? I will show you a very quick video, okay, here, how to do the proper wudu. So inshallah we'll know this one. And after the wudu, obviously we have dua, and and everything 3 times is the best. Even 1 time is allowed, 2 times is also allowed. 4th time is not allowed. Yes?
Are you meant to do your neck?
No, that's what I was about to cover. Neck you are not meant to do. And actually if someone continuously doing that one as a cleaning thing, that's fine. But if he tells someone, brother, this is a part of the wudu, that's a bidah. So do not do the neck. Sometimes people wash it and go the neck. It's not the right way. Yes.
So can we wipe over our shoes?
We'll go to that. Yes. We'll go to that inshallah ta'ala. So when to take wudu? What are the things that we have to take wudu before we do this? Obviously, salah is all you know that. Tawaf around the Kaaba, you must have wudu to do tawaf. Touching the Quran, the Quran that is Arabic. If the Quran has translation, that is not full Quran. Only Arabic Quran, the green one, as you can see, or any color, completely full Arabic Quran is a Quran, the Mus'haf. If you touch that, that's fine. So your iPhone is not a Quran. Its app is Quran. You can read it, recite it without wudu, but it is better to have wudu. Okay. People who are memorizing the surahs, okay, for them it's not necessary because you are probably driving the car and you want to listen and memorize. That's fine. You don't need to have wudu at that time. Okay. And also before sleeping, this is very recommended. Every night before sleep, take the wudu. And this is really rewarding. Also before the intercourse, that is recommended with your wife, and after carrying a dead for burial. So if you take someone's dead body and going to the graveyard and you bury, it's recommended you come back and take the wudu. Okay, it's recommended that. Okay. And these are the du'as. If you know that the best du'a is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna la sharika lahu, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma ja'alni min at-tawwabin wa ja'alni min al-mutatahhirin. If you don't know the dua, you have the F for the dua, you will find all this dua in there. And if you want, I can send it to you, inshallah. Now the related topics matters with the wudu, doubt and wastage of water. We talked about the doubt before, we started. So if you have doubt, forget the doubt. If you're certain about the wudu, then you have wudu. Okay? And wastage, see, Professor Sam said never to wash anything 4 times. So sometimes people think, I have wudu, I did wudu at Asr, okay? I came to Maghrib and said, okay, let's do wudu on matter, I'll get more reward, okay? But if you have wudu, you should not do it just for the sake that you think that, this is going to give me more reward or something. You're wasting money, wasting water again, okay? And that's what Prophet said, you're not to do 4th time. You're doing everything again 3 times. You're wasting more money, okay? So it is not required that if you have wudu, continue with that. There's no extra reward for that one. So that is the wastage of water and the doubt. Rubbing the limbs, it is better to rub your limbs like this, okay? We'll show it in the video soon, okay? But if someone just wipe it up like this, as long as it's wet, it's fine. So if you, even for wudu, if you put the shower on, you're taking wudu there, okay? And you just put your face like this, washing, that's also, technically it's okay. Technically it's okay, but it's not the best practice, obviously, okay? Wiping over the socks, that's where the comment you're talking about. So wiping over the socks, it is a very important matter for the men and women both. There's no difference of opinion in this matter, meaning wiping of the sock is allowed, okay? But there are some conditions. Are all socks allowed? No, not all socks allowed, but the common sock that we are wearing is fine, as long as not very thin, that's okay. If it is very thin, that you can see, especially for the sister, there's something called, I don't know what it's called, like legging or something, that you can see the skins, so those are not allowed. Also, if you wear some sports sock that doesn't have the ankle, okay? I see one of the brothers, he's not here today, I'm not sure. He sometimes wears these socks, I'll show you the picture. Doesn't have ankle, so you cannot wipe over those socks, okay? And the condition to wipe over sock that you must have wudu before wearing, okay? So that is the condition. So what does it mean? That if you are going to the office, you have wudu in the morning, okay? Now after the wudu, you put the socks on, okay? If you don't have wudu now and you put the socks on, you cannot wipe over that socks. You must have wudu when you are putting the socks on. That's the first condition. You must have that. And then after that, you can, the next wudu, that you break the wudu in the office or wherever, you can wipe over the socks. That's fine, no problem. And for recipient, it's 24 hours. And for the travelers, it's 72 hours from the first wipe. So I give an example again. So I do wudu at 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? Then I'm getting ready for my office. I put the socks on. I went to the office at 12 o'clock. I went to the toilet, I urinated, okay? I have broke my wudu. I'm doing wudu in the office, so I wipe over my sock. At 12:30, I wiped over my sock. My wudu is finished, right? From that 12:30, this is my first wipe. I can still go 24 hours. So in the next 24 hours, if I'm wearing that sock, it's okay. Now, if you take the socks off? Okay, there's a difference of opinion on that. That if you take the socks off, some scholars say your wudu is gone because your thing is gone. Some say it's still there. So try to be in the safe side. Okay, but if you know that after the wiping you're going on a journey, so you have like a long drive or Melbourne or something, and you keep wearing the sock, you can do it up to 24 hours. Okay. And only allowed in wudu, not in ghusl. When wiping is only allowed on the top part. You don't have to rub the whole, see, just wiping on the top of this one. And this is only allowed for wudu, not for ghusl. It's not a replacement for the ghusl. Wiping over the bandage. Sometimes you have bandage or plaster in your hand, if it's broken. So that is a bit different. Bandage doesn't have any precondition. So suppose you broke your hand or you cut, you went to the doctor, he said, doctor, don't bandage now, let me wudu first. Then I will, no, don't say that, that's fine. For bandage, it's allowed. Bandage doesn't have any time limit because you don't know when it's going to hit. And also for bandage, you wipe over the whole bandage. So when you wipe over, not only like sock, you wipe over the whole bandage and wipe not only the top bottom. And this is a substitute for ghusl and wudu also. Because even for the ghusl, you cannot take this off, okay? So that's how you should do it. Wiping over the turban or hijab, okay, for the sisters also. So people the Arab people who used to wear turban, Prophet had one turban one, and he didn't open the turban. So he just put little bit of here, wipe, okay? So that's why scholars say that is allowed if it is too difficult for you to take the turban off. For sisters, if are there in a place where they are not comfortable to take the hijab off, what they can do, they can wipe their fingers, go inside the hijab, and do little as much as possible without taking the hijab off. But if you have a wudu place where sisters only wudu place, you should go there and do it properly. Okay? But if you're in a public place and you don't want to take off your hijab, and you should not, okay? So you shouldn't do it. Just put your fingers and that should be enough. I think we are running out of time, so we have to be quick. Maybe if you guys want after the show we can continue a little bit because we won't be able to finish, I think, but let's see. So those are the socks are not allowed, and this is how you top it, wipe it, and you can go to the top of the bottom of the part. Let's go quickly before prayer, inshallah, we'll finish. So what breaks the wudu? This is very important to know. Yes?
Just one question from before. Like, can you do it over shoes?
No, only socks. Only socks.
So if you do the wudu and you have socks on, then you wear the shoes. Now you go to toilet, urinize and come back do the wudu. You still have to take your feet out of the shoes and wipe with the socks?
Yes. Yes, you have to take the shoes off and wipe over the socks. Wipe over the shoes is not being recommended or not being allowed in the things. Okay, because you already have socks, okay? At that time they have shoes and socks kind of same way. There's like some kind of socks just together, okay? So that is not allowed. So you have to take the shoes off and wipe over the socks only. The nullifier of the wudu, anything that comes from the back or private organs, urine, feces, wind, blood, medicine, stone, anything that comes from the private part is broke the wudu. Blood coming from the private organ definitely break the wudu. Anything from the private organ will break the wudu. So that's fine. Next thing, the sleeping and loss of sense. So this is another difference of opinion. Almost 10 opinions on this matter. The quickest way, if you go into the deep sleep, like you're going to the bed and sleeping, that's fine. If you're dozing, like some of you are dozing now, that's okay. You still have wudu. Okay, so no problem. Okay. And if you go to a coma or drunkenness or something like this, obviously you have to come back and do wudu. That's the big break, okay? Impurities from other body parts, okay? Like vomiting or pimple burst, and as you say, bleeding, okay? This type of thing, difference of available, it doesn't break the wudu. So, suppose in one of the Sahaba, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he had a pimple. So the pimple burst when he was praying, okay? So it's fine, and little bit blood came out from the pimple, it's passed of blood, it's okay, wudu is still there, okay? Also vomiting, as I said, if you vomit itself is a najasa. But if you vomit on the sink or something, and it's not in your clothes and everything, your wudu is still there. Even if it's najasa, you can just clean it up, wipe it up, okay? So that's fine. And also the hadith proof is that Umar ibn Khattab and other Sahaba also, Umar ibn Khattab, as you know, he was stabbed when he was praying the Fajr prayer. He couldn't finish the prayer, he's been stabbed. And when he gets sense back again, he finished his prayer. and he had a lot of bleeding going on, okay? But he didn't do his wudu, okay? Even the other Sahaba, while they were praying, they had arrows stuck with him, they had bleeding, they continued the prayer, okay? So the wudu was still there. The touching the private organs, okay? Two conflicting hadiths, but strongest opinion, better to do wudu to be in the safe side. Unintentional and without desire is allowed by many scholars. Meaning, touching your private organ breaks the wudu, that's the strongest opinion. But unintentional one, and without the desire and everything, that's okay to do this one, no problem. Touching opposite gender, as we mentioned the Imam Shafi, so obviously we have the strongest proof that it doesn't break the wudu. Even the woman who is not mahram to you, like non-mahram, like if you are in someone, a girl or lady that you have to shake your hand or you touch by accident or something, still you will have wudu. It doesn't have to be wife or mother. Any woman, it keeps your wudu fine. Wudu is not broken. Camel meat, and another thing, the strongest opinion is that camel meat breaks your wudu. So if you eat camel meat, you have to break wudu. You don't ask me why. Professor Sallam said, if you eat camel meat, it breaks your wudu. Okay? Camel has a lot of stories. It's interesting. And one of the hadith Professor Sallam said in camels are made of jinn. You know that? So he said camels are made out of the jinn. And also camel is such an animal, it never gets domesticated. It looks like a very calm and quiet animal. If you let the camel go, suppose a camel is with you for 10-15 years. Like if your dog is with you for 1 year, 6 months, it will come to you if you call him. A camel, if you let it go after 15 years, it will never come back to you. It's just very unfaithful. Anyway, so that's a different topic, but yeah. Apostasy, when someone leaves Islam, obviously he doesn't have wudu anymore. It doesn't matter for him anymore actually. And the last thing is that external najasa, changing clothes, because these are the questions we get. So if you have wudu and you are not changing your clothes, so you're taking all your clothes off, still you have wudu. So nakedness doesn't break your wudu, okay? External najasa. So I'm praying here, okay? And I got something species, or something came up, some najasa came up on my body, okay? It doesn't break the wudu. You can continue there, you can just clean it up, okay? So najasa, external najasa doesn't break your wudu. It's a najasa, it's an impure thing, but impure thing doesn't break your wudu. So if you have urine, I have wudu now. If I got urine here, okay, it's the impure thing. I have to clean it up, but I don't have to do wudu anymore. I have to maybe change my clothes if I cannot wash it now, but my wudu is still valid, okay? Also the haircut, nail cut doesn't break your wudu, okay? Sometimes we say, we look at something, especially maybe if you're traveling through train and something, you look at some ladies, who's not appropriately dressed, and you say, I have to do my wudu again. Or you hear some foul language, some brother is screaming, doing some, F word or something, you still have wudu. Although you're hearing this bad thing, you still have wudu, so no problem in that, So seeing, hearing, and looking at other things that is not allowed, that is foul thing, you still have wudu in there. Okay, let's go to the ghusl quickly. What necessitated ghusl? Why do you have to do ghusl? Ghusl, taking shower, it is a very good habit and you should take it. But when it is mandatory to take it, that's what I want to mention here. Getting out from the state of janaba. What is janaba? We'll talk very soon. It is the state of we'll talk about that. After the menstruation of the sisters, okay, and post childbirth bleeding. So when a sister gives birth, the maximum 40 days they can have bleeding. The bleeding can stop before, so after that they have to come out as a purity and they have to take ghusl. Okay? After the death by someone else, meaning if someone dies, ghusl is fought on the dead body by someone else. So that's you have to do the ghusl for that, except in Islam. And Juma, on the Friday, Eid, Arafah day, when you're wearing ihram, washing the dead, all these things are highly recommended. Especially Juma, you must take a shower. It is so much, some of the scholars it's obligatory. On Juma day, before you come to Juma, you must take shower on that day, and also in Eid day. These are the two special events, you must take shower on that day. Okay, Janaba, what is Janaba? It's a major ritual impurity, as you all know that. What causes to be state of Janaba? Sexual intercourse, obviously with your wife, with your spouse. Ejaculation by any means, wet dreams, medical condition, if you have, that also break your state, so you're in this state, a major impurity state is Janaba. Also, meeting male and female private parts without ejaculation. What does that mean actually? Sorry, I have to be explicit because these are the things we need to know. For example, husband and wife have a newborn baby. Okay, it wakes up every night, and every 1 hour or something. So husband and wife try to get intimate now, and they are starting their act, but the baby wake up. So the sister has to go and take care of the baby. By the time he's put to sleep, the Fajr times come. Okay, so none of them has the semen out of their body basically. Okay, so they haven't going to the climax. But because the both private parts touch each other, they have a state of janaba. So they have to take the shower to come out of the impurity and being pure for that. Okay. What is not allowed in the state of janaba? Of course, on all that the recur wudu is not allowed. So when you're in a state of janaba, that means you don't have wudu, you don't have ghusl, so you cannot do anything that wudu can do. Also, not touching the Quran and reciting the Quran is also not allowed at that time. Okay. And also, staying in the masjid in state of janaba is not allowed. Staying in the masjid, but passing through is allowed. So that time, because people used to pass through the purpose of the masjid, because their house is close to the wall of the masjid. So if you pass instead of janaba, you can pass through the masjid, but you should not come and stay and hearing the lecture or something. No, you should not do that one. Okay. How to perform ghusl? There's two ways to perform ghusl. The basic way, basic way, you go under the shower, or if you have a swimming pool in the house, jump in, come out, everything wet, your ghusl is done. Okay, that's fine. But that is the basic way. Okay. And for the sister who have long hairs, and if the hair is braided, they don't need to do the whole hair because it's long hair. As long as the roots are, even for the men, the roots are wet, that should be fine. As long as the roots are wet, that should be fine. But the sunnah way, and this is not only sunnah way actually, some of the scholars mentioned that, if you are in a state of janaba, you must ghusl in this way. If not, they said you haven't done the ghusl. Okay? So you must do the ghusl in this way. What is that way? That way is you have to have intention, of course, that you are doing the ghusl, and you have to wash the hands first, both of your hands. Yes, I'm finishing inshallah. I can see that. That's fine, thank you. And then make wudu. So you have to make a complete wudu to come out of this. So what I'm saying here, so suppose you had intercourse with your wife at night. And before the fajr, you're going to the toilet to take a shower. So what you do, you wash your hand, both hands, okay. Use your left hand first to clean up your private part. Use soap, whatever you want to use it, no problem. Do it private part. And after that, you do a complete wudu. But you can say, okay, brother, I don't have any clothes. I'm already in the shower area, so that's fine. You can take wudu even in normal time without clothes in your body. Wudu doesn't have a requirement of your aura. Like for prayer, we have. If you are in the toilet yourself, you conceal yourself, you are naked, you can take wudu with that one. No problem at all. But you have to take wudu before you start the wudu. Once you take the wudu, you start the ghusl. So you may wash the head, 3 scoops of water, but you don't have scoops of water, you just stand under the shower and wash the rest of the body and wash the feet. Okay? And the obligatory of the ghusl intention is of course obligatory, and also cleaning the mouth and the nose according to the Hanafi and Shafi is better to do it when you do ghusl. Just clean your 3 times gargle and also put the water in the nose like you do in the wudu time, and also wash the entire body once. Wash the entire body once. These are the mandatory things that you need to do in the ghusl. This part here says intention is very important. So you are doing ghusl. If you're doing the basic ghusl, as I say, okay, if you do the ghusl and you have the intention for wudu and you do the wudu, so you have intention for ghusl and wudu. So you did the ghusl, you have wudu, so both you have. You have only intention to do ghusl and wudu, and you went to the shower. You take the ghusl, the basic ghusl. So you just went in the shower, you make sure everything is wet. Still you have wudu. You don't have to do wudu again. Okay? And the way that we showed there, obviously you're doing your wudu before you take the shower. So you already have wudu. Okay? Even if you go to a swimming pool, as I mentioned, you jump in, you come out from the swimming pool, everything is wet, you have wudu. As long as you have intention. So before the ghusl, you have intention, oh Allah, I'm doing this ghusl and wudu together. So if you do that way, you have ghusl and wudu both. Okay? So intention is also the bigger thing, it should be fine. A reminder for the system.